Hi, my name is Lydia Kite, and we're going to work through this video for Competency 5. From being a baby to an adolescent, significant growth is occurring. The growing is not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and socially. Physically, they're growing stronger and taller, and they're able to move better and faster. Where mentally, the brain is expanding and increasing the processing and function. And their hormones are evolving and their wants and needs are changing, as well as simple gestures are turning into individual personalities. This area of growth from baby to adolescent is amazing, but it's also a very complex process. Moving into the baby development stage, this stage happens very quickly, and CDC states that in the first year alone, the baby goes from not being able to speak, not be able to move much, and is very dependent on someone to feed them, to being able to say a few words, to being able to crawl, stand, and possibly take some steps, as well as feeding themselves certain handheld food. And the resources that I learned from taught me all those developmental stages and how important those milestones are for a baby to grow into a functional human being. I think the thing that I found the most interesting, according to McLeod, the older research is by Piaget and Vogel, and they say that the baby is a passive learner and they have to learn from instruction, and they need someone that's knowledgeable to teach them. But the newer research by Buckus 2014 states that as early as 16 months, the baby was finding interest in specific objects. And so they weren't needing someone to tell them exactly what to play with, but they were able to make their own decision, which is amazing at such a young age. It was surprising, I think, to me, just how quickly the baby learns and evolves in this stage. They go from being very passive and not interactive to really interactive and engaging in the environment. According to CDC, in the first year, the baby is learning how to process memories, they're starting to talk, they're focusing their vision, and they're beginning to reach and explore their environment. Buckus 2014 said that as early as 16 months, they're showing interest in certain objects. So they would have two objects, the baby would be interested in one, and they would take them away and then bring them back, and that baby was still interested in that original object, meaning that they don't have to have mom say, here's this rattle. They may be interested in the rattle, but they could be interested in the ball that they also see. So it's showing at 16 months, the baby is able to start learning on their own. We're facilitating learning as adults for them, but they're able to make those decisions on their own, which is amazing. I'm still eager really to learn the depth of which babies are learning, as well as what is the most beneficial way to really promote learning for a baby. I don't really work in this population much, but I do have students that have kids. So I think just understanding the developmental stage their baby is at and helping them relieve stress because of the amount of roles that they're playing as a new parent, as well as being a student. So now we'll move into the toddler development stage. This stage is full of exploring. The toddler is starting to show more independence according to Bright Horizon. They're able to, follow some step commands, but they also have that defiant behavior because they're exploring and figuring out who they are as an individual. It was really interesting to me the fact that the child is learning through senses and movement, as well as trial and error and pretend play. So they're going to drop the item in the toilet to see if it'll sink or float. And they really want to figure things out for themselves versus just being told what will happen because of a parent. And the toddler, it just surprised me the amount of skill that happens. So the baby is rapidly learning all kinds of things, but now the toddler is kind of making it more of a skilled learning. So that was very interesting to me. Lynn 2018 also found that significant gross motor and fine motor improvements occurred with occupational therapy interventions. And for me, that's just great research to support the importance of OT's role in developmental milestones for toddlers, because that's our goal. Is we're trying to help these toddlers reach these milestones that they might not be able to meet because of a delay or a deficit. And our goal is to help them be functional and become independent adults eventually. So they really have to work on these milestones to be able to get to that functional, independent level as an adult. It also was surprising from Lynn 2018 that there was a huge correlation with cognitive development and the improvement of gross and fine motor development. And it's just interesting to me that at such a young age, the body and brain are working so hard together to work on getting this toddler to be developmentally appropriate. And so for me, it makes sense, but it's just surprising that at such a young age, our bodies are already trying to correlate and work together so much. I think moving forward, it's kind of the same as what I was thinking with the baby stage. I don't work with this population much, but being able to really understand the developmental stage that my students' children are in and kind of helping them work through some stress options to be able to play all their roles as parent, as student, and even full-time employee. So I think just being cognizant of what life stressors they're going through because of the developmental stage their child is in. Now we're going to move into adolescent development stage. So this stage is just full of changes, and according to Brittany Allen, at healthychildren.org. This transition is huge because it's from childhood to adulthood. And so the adolescent is growing to reach their adult height, their hormones are changing, there's more hair growth. If they're a girl, they're possibly starting their period, breast development. Boys, their voices are kind of deepening. So a lot of changes are occurring. And I learned that I wasn't aware of that in this stage, their gray matter in their brain is decreasing and there's an increase in synapses. And this was by Jolsky 2015. And then Dan Siegel, the adolescent brain, kind of touches on this more. And it says that this is the remodeling stage of the brain to promote integration. And this is where pruning and myelin formation is occurring. And so the pruning, as a child, they're just learning everything and absorbing all of it, where the pruning stage is now that they're getting to choose what they're interested in and picking that information and kind of holding on to that more. And that's going to drive development to happen more. So then there's the myelin formation, and this is the sheath that's connected to the neurons, and it's helping them communicate more effectively. And then this is going to focus their attention, focus their emotions on doing something that they want with thought. So it'll decrease impulsive behavior. It really surprised me just the amount of changes that are occurring aside from hormones, because I think that people focus on raging hormones, and that is occurring, but there's so much of happening in the brain alongside those hormonal changes. I think also it is really surprising the impact that peers play. So I knew that, being in an adolescent stage, it can be worrisome of what others think, but the research from Jolsky in 2015 really showed that this age is really affected by what their peers think. So that's when, as parents or as healthcare providers, we really need to hone in on helping these kiddos make decisions that are going to be appropriate decisions. Moving forward, I think I would like to know more about OT treatment with adolescents and disabilities and what we can facilitate. And then I think bringing awareness to my clients that are in this population of what's occurring, all the changes that are occurring, and being there to support the parents, because the parents aren't aware that they're trying to distance themselves to learn. They take it personal. So a lot of changes are occurring from baby to adolescence, from barely talking and moving to developing their own opinions and playing sports and becoming independent. And so, as we grow from baby to adolescent, learning and development is constantly occurring. And so, as healthcare providers, I think it's very important for us just to know what stage of development they're in because it's going to help tailor our care and really understand where this child should be and where we can get them. Here's my references. Thanks.